Hello! One of the most important yet complicated parts of any Monster Hunter game is loadout management. There were some guides made about this as soon as the game came out, but since much of the info for these guides were stripped from the other Monster Hunter games, many information about this topic was left out and a lot of the things that needed proper testing wasn't tested, so I decided to make this guide not only covering the basic stuff but also telling you about certain things that I bet even the veterans of this game don't know about. Note that since this is a complete guide, there might be some repeated facts if you have watched other guides before, but that doesn't mean there is no new information, and I promise you, by the end of this guide I will show you a loadout that will never ever let you down, and you will also have the knowledge to not overlap certain buffs and waste precious resources when you can do so much better without them. Also, I'm trying to reach 1k subs, so if you guys can help me reach that goal, I highly appreciate it. The very first thing I want you to do is to make an empty loadout. Once you removed all of your items, you might see certain items that cannot be removed. These items, if you click on them once, they will be marked by an X, meaning that they will not show up on your item bar. So if you come out of the tent and you look at your item bar, you can see that there is no item in your item bar at all. But these essential items you cannot drop from your item pouch, so they will always stay with you, but they will not use up a slot. Now, of course, I've also dropped all of my mantles out of my item bar, but I will show you guys later on a way that you can put all of these items into certain shortcuts so you can use them without having to scroll through your item bar. Also, the order that the items will be shown in your item bar is left to right, top to bottom, and since your item bar can go both directions, if you don't want to assign a shortcut to certain items, it's best to put them on the top left or the bottom right of your inventory, so it shows very close to the beginning or the end of your item bar. Now that we have an empty canvas, I'm gonna go over all the necessary items that you have to bring no matter your playstyle. By the end of this video, I will show you different loadouts depending if you're just getting started or you are at the end game, but for now, let's talk about why we pick certain items. The most important part of any item loadout is its healing options. So for this, we have 4 options: potions, mega potions, max potions, and ancient potions. Which option do you think is better? Well, potions are a complete joke, so we only ever have 3 options. And the mega potions, while it heals you for a significant amount, it takes a very long time to consume. And the other 2 options that we have, which are the max potions and ancient potions, bring your health to max and will take a very small amount of time to consume. But the problem here is that the mega potions you can bring 10 of in your inventory, but the max potions you can only bring 2, and for ancient potions you can only bring 1. But if I told you there is a way to have up to 12 max potions and 11 ancient potions? Yes, that's right. A lot of the guides out there think that you can only make 7 max potions, but you can actually make 12 by using a certain trick that I know of. This is by using the mid-fight crafting options that you have. So if you come to the crafting section, you can see that the max pots can be created using the catalyst and the mandragora, but then the catalyst itself can be made using the bitter bug and honey. So what we do is we bring 2 max potions, but then we bring 10 mandragoras and 5 catalysts. For the other 5 max pots that we want to create, we need another 5 catalysts, so we bring 5 bitter bug broth and 5 honey, allowing us to create up to 5 more catalysts, and therefore now we can have up to 12 max pots right in the spot. The process of crafting these mid-fight is extremely easy, but we will get to that once we cover the shortcuts. In case you're not still that good at the game and need more healing, we will also bring 10 mega potions. This is just an insane amount of healing, and to be honest, if you need more than this, you just have to improve at the game, because even though we can bring more healing items, there's absolutely no need to. But wait a second, what about the ancient potions? The ancient potions have the exact same effect of the max pots, and they also bring your stamina to the max. However, they require an item that is very hard to farm, and it's called the nourishing extract. Even though you can farm these by just doing the guardian sacred optional quests over and over again, I do not recommend you use this because there's absolutely no need, and you will just overcomplicate things for yourself. For the stamina part, which the ancient potions maximize, even though your stamina will be full anyway by eating a meal, we will still bring 10 rations, so whenever your stamina drops, we will just have to eat one of these. But what if we want to heal our teammates? For these type of emergency situations, you can bring the life powder or dust of life. The dust of life is much better, so that's why I'm bringing it. And even though you can craft more of these mid-fight, I do not recommend that unless you are running a healer build. Again, all you have to do to craft one of these mid-fight is to go to the crafting tab and see what ingredients this item needs, and then bring more of those in your inventory. You might see that I have these in a very organized way. As you can see, there is a shortcut right down here that is called rearrange. For me, it's on G. Yours might be different. So whenever I click on an item with the G, I can go ahead and replace it and put it on another spot. So for example, right here, I usually go for the ingredients and the same item types on the same column. So for example, for max potions, I put Mandragora and Catalyst right next to each other because I use these to craft the max potions. Just a very cool visual thing that you can do to help you manage your item loadout. The next set of items in our inventory are items that affect the monsters. So essentially, we can control the monster with these items or create more opportunities for damaging them. First, we have the traps, which can immobilize the monster and lets you capture them. You can bring 2 more trap tools to craft either Pitfall Trap or Shock Trap, but I don't recommend you do that for our main loadout, since every time you trap a monster, they become more resistant to that certain trap. But just know that in most situations, crafting a Pitfall Trap is much better than crafting a Shock Trap. For capturing the monster, you obviously need something called a Trank Bomb. Now, I could just straight up bring on Trank Bombs, or we could turn the Trank Bombs into Trank Knives. Now, Trank Knives are much better. You can essentially get these for free by coming to the crafting list. And here, under the Traps Offense category, you can go ahead and craft these Trank Blades. As you can see, we have infinite amount of throwing knives. So just by having the Trank Bombs, you can just straight up craft them and turn them into Trank Blades. And Trank Blades are much easier to use because you can use these even when your weapon is drawn. So for my loadout, I'm just gonna go ahead and bring the Trank Blades. The next very important item is Flash Pods, and this lets you interrupt the monster or drop them out of the sky. And for that, we're bringing 3 Flash Pods and 10 Flash Bugs. And this lets you just bully a monster if you wanted to. This is only ever useless if the monster is actually immune to the Flash Pods. Against every other monster, no matter if they're flying or they are on the ground, the Flash Pods can be very, very useful. Just remember that the monster becomes more resistant to this as well, and for that reason, use them wisely. Barrel Bombs are used mostly on a monster that is asleep to dish out the insane amounts of damage when you wake them up. These might not be used much right now, but they will if the Elder Dragons are in the game. Already, a monster like Zushia is the prime option for using these if your teammates actually manage to sleep him mid-fight and stop attacking the monster. The last item that you can choose is between the Lowering Pod and the Dunk Pod. I personally use the Lowering Pod because there's much more use to it. Essentially, by hitting a monster with the Dunk Pod, the monster goes away, and by hitting them with the Lowering Pod, they will be attracted to you. And in situations where another monster invades your fight, you can use these to either repel the invading monster or to attract the target monster to another area. This next item is, in my opinion, mandatory for every loadout, and it's called the Farcaster, which lets you quickly go back to the camp mid-fight. Even though most people argue that you can do that just by opening the map and fast traveling to your camp, you can't really open your map while you are down on the ground. So whenever a monster downs you and your hunter's getting up, but the monster doing an attack that is going to actually cart you, the second that you use the Farcaster, immediately the monster cannot damage you anymore and you will be sent back to the camp. This item has saved me in so many situations. Seriously, just use this and thank me later. So by now, as you can see, we have a very decent loadout, but what about the buffs? Well, there is actually many items in this game that let you either buff your attack or defense or a special property of your hunter like a stamina, and I've already created a full guide on entire armor sets dedicated to buffing, and I highly recommend you guys watch that video. But you'll be surprised because some of these items are actually equal to certain set bonuses. The first 2 items are Power Charm and Armor Charm, and these give you bonus attack and defense just by sitting in your inventory. There is 2 quests right now that give you these. One of them is completed in Hunter rank 21 and is an optional quest called As Gatekeepers, and the other one is by completing just 1 arena quest in the Grand Hub. As soon as you get your hands on these, just slap them in your inventory. Although you could skip Armor Charm if you run out of the inventory space, I do not recommend not using Power Charm because it's just free DPS by just sitting in your inventory. But our first buffing consumable is Demon Drug, and it's equal to a Nitro Shroom if you use the skill Mushroomancer. This skill lets you eat mushrooms for certain buffs. We'll be mentioning this skill a lot, so just keep that in mind. Demon Drug gives you 5 power for 30 minutes, but there is a much more powerful version of Demon Drug called Mega Demon Drug, and it gives you 7 power for 30 minutes, but it overrides the Demon Drug. Then we got, of course, the Might Seed and Demon Powder, both giving you 10 power for 3 minutes. However, Demon Powder also gives the power to other players around you as well. One of the interactions with sets that I talked to you guys about is for Might Seed and Demon Powder. You'll be surprised that the effect of Might Seed is equal to the effect of both set bonuses, Doshaguma's Might and Jugu's Protein Fiend. But wait, didn't you say that it only gives 10 power? Yes, but it overrides those skills, meaning that at any point in time, the game looks at what the superior buff is. For example, if you eat a Might Seed, but then you eat a Veldon stick to activate the effect of Protein Fiend, instead of giving you 15 power, you only gain 5 power and the effect duration resets. This is insanely stupid and I can't get my head around whether or not it's intentional or not, but it is how it works and it is worth noting when you're creating certain builds. For example, a Dushaguma build that I made previously for the Greatsword is completely irrelevant because of this. So if you have the level 1 Dushaguma set bonus, it is literally the same effect as the Might Seed. So you are gaining absolutely nothing by including it in your build. The Demon Powder also have the same effect as the Demon Ammo or Blagonga Warcry level 2 set bonus, and it actually gives you 4 more power since the Blagonga Warcry level 2 only gives you 6 raw and Demon Powder actually gives you 10. There is another item related to raw power and it is called the Might Pill. Might Pill also overrides the effect of Might Seed, but instead it will give you 25 power for 20 seconds. Let's say you just ate a Might Seed giving you 10 power for 180 seconds, but then immediately you eat a Might Pill, then you will have 25 power for 20 seconds and then 10 power for 160 seconds immediately after the effect of the Might Pill has turned off. This makes Might Pill in Monster Hunter Wilds insanely good of an item for the weapons that have tight DPS windows and also when the monster is down on the ground. Previously in the other Monster Hunter games, when you would consume a Might Pill, it would completely reduce the duration of the Might Seed as well. It would completely override it. So whenever the effect of the Might Pill would run out, the effect of Might Seed would also run out. But in this game, it is not like that and the effect of the Might Seed will still take over. Now in the buffing set video that I made, I talked about how you can actually increase the duration of all of these buffs. You can watch that video if you want. That's a very comprehensive video about the buffs as well, so feel free to watch it. The exact same thing we talked about for power items apply to defense items. We got Armor Skin and Parshroom, which buff your defense for 30 minutes. The stronger version of it is Mega Armor Skin, and both Adamant Seed and Hardshell Powder boost your defense for 3 minutes. While Adamant Peel overrides the Adamant Seed and gives you an insane defense boost, but this time for 90 seconds instead of 20 seconds. Out of all these items, I myself only bring Might Seed, Demon Powder and Might Peel in my inventory, and the reason behind this is that most of the defense items as of the moment are overkill, and a Mega Demon Drug only needs to be consumed every 50 minutes if you're using the buffing set that I mentioned in the video. So we only ever need to consume these 3 items to maintain the highest amount of raw power throughout the fight. But what about the special buffs? Well, again, this has been looked through in my buff set video guide, but quickly going over them, if you have the skill Mushromancer, the Toadstool Mushroom can improve your natural health recovery for your red HP by turning it into yellow, and has the same effect as the item Immunizer, but for cheaper. And the Devil's Blight Mushroom also gives you the same effect as a Dash Shoes, which reduces the stamina consumption by a decent amount for 3 minutes. Again, it is much cheaper than just farming a Dash Shoes, but obviously Dash Shoes could be used in certain builds for weapons like dual blades or bow. The next set of items are situational items that might be used in certain fights, but you don't have to bring them on every single fight, and these are Nullberry, which removes any source of light from your character, the Antidote and Herbal Medicine, which cure poison, Energy Drink that helps you shake off sleep, Cleanser, which removes webbing or frost from your body, Cool Drink and Hot Drink negate the effects of harsh environments. You don't have to bring these because there's a lot of environmental bugs that give you the exact same effects, Wall Jerky, which cures bleeding, Dash Shoes, which we talked about before, but even though you can use it before the fight, you can bring some to consume mid-fight depending on your weapon. What makes Dash Shoes such an annoying item is the ingredient Dash Extract, which can only be traded or farmed through the punching bag monster Gypsros, which is very boring and I don't really want to do it. Instead, I mostly just use the Devil's Blight before the fight or eat a food skill that reduces my stamina consumption. Herbal Powder, which cures your teammates' poison, which is useless in my opinion because everyone has to bring their own items. Charred Lizard, which is obtained through the Woodwoods and has the same effect as the Ancient Potion, but it also cures poison. A Smoke Bomb, which helps the monster lose you and lets you a sneak attack mid-fight. Poison Bomb, which lets you poison the monster. A Small Barrel Bomb, which helps with some weapons like Longsword to get powered up without needing to actually hit a monster. A Screamer Pot, which is only useful against certain monsters and is completely garbage in my opinion. Wetfish Fin and Wetfish Fin Plus, which reduce the sharpening animation by 1 and 2 levels respectively. And finally, Sushi Fish and Great Sushi Fish, which cure bleeding and heal you for a decent amount of HP, but again, not worth the effort to farm them. Depending on the type of monster you face or the weapon you use, you can bring 2 to 3 of these items, but I'm not going to include them in the final loadout because they are very situational. Having gone over all of these items, we will now look at some of the loadouts I made for myself. You can save your loadouts by hitting the shortcut assigned to manage loadouts and then bringing on the sub menu on an empty slot and then clicking the register loadout. From now on, by just going to manage loadout and clicking on the loadout that you just saved, your inventory will be filled with the items from that certain loadout that you created. The first option is for players who just started the game, and for healing we have mega pots as opposed to max pots, and you can craft up to 10 additional of them. Nullberry and Antidote, since many low rank monsters are gimmicky and have certain annoying blights. A set of life powder, farcaster, large barrel bombs, and 2 traps plus another 2 craftable pitfall traps, which helps you a lot, especially if you don't know certain monsters moves. Dunk pods, and of course the flash pods, and also either trank bombs or trank blades for capturing the monster. The next set is for the ultimate buffing armor set, and here we have both charms for testing purposes, and then we have the power shroom, adamant peel, and hard shell powder for defense, mega demon drug, might seed, and demon powder for the power, and toadstool, devil's blight for the special buffs. Again, if you use the armor that I showed you in the other video, you pop these before you go into a fight, and then you switch to your main set, which will look like this. Now this is the main set that I have done a lot to put together, so if you guys like it, consider helping me by subscribing to the channel and liking the video. You essentially have everything that you need here, and the next sets are just a combination of your main lion beast set with some additional items. For example, if I feel lazy to just do the buffing set, I just do the lions plus buffs, which will give me all the items that I need for buffing myself. For the bowguns, of course, depending on which type of ammo we use, we bring their crafting requirements, and we check that by going to the ammo section of the crafting menu. Note that the ammo pouch is actually different than the item pouch. Sadly, there isn't really much you can do with the ammo pouch as of the moment, other than rearrange and restock them. So only craft and restock your ammo to make sure you have everything for the fight. Again, looking at the crafting list, you can see what you need to bring for different ammo types, but I might do a little bowgun guide covering all of this as well, even though there isn't really much to it. The last thing we are going to cover in this video, and is a very important thing, is the shortcuts. No matter whether you are on console or PC, these shortcuts are accessed by clicking the customize radial menu, and from here you have the option to go either for your controller settings or your keyboard settings. I myself love the keyboard settings, but you can do the exact same thing that I've done using your controller layouts. Both of these options have 8 different categories, and you can assign different set of shortcuts to them, and this is the way that I've done things. So on our first loadout, I have all the items important to mess with the monster, including the traps, trank blades, lowering pod, mega bombs, and farcaster. For the second set, I have my main mantle set up. A very cool tip for you guys is that you can put on your mantle without actually shifting your weapon if you set it on a shortcut instead of going through it using your item bar. My healing options are next, and then we have the flash pod and whetstone and rations, and this is the cool thing about it. You remember how I told you guys about how you can craft max pots mid-fight? Well, you can consume 2 of them here, and then when they run out, you can craft 5 of them by just clicking the shortcut for the max pots whenever you run out of them and you have the ingredients for the crafting. But when you run out of the catalyst, if you look at my 5th loadout, you can see that I assigned crafting catalyst mid-fight, and this will create the extra 5 catalysts that we need to craft another set of 5 max pots. You may notice that I also have the flash pots crafting set to this, and the reason behind this is because crafting through your main item shortcuts will only craft the item one by one. This makes you have to re-equip your flash pots one by one whenever they run out, which is just terrible. By assigning a binding to craft all of them at once, if they haven't run out, you can use up to 13 flash pots without the need to re-equip your flash pots ever again. You don't even have to sheath your weapon to do this, which makes this option very OP. Other than that, I will go over all the shortcuts here. Remember, you can save a shortcut group the same way you saved the loadouts before. One thing that I want to mention is the 6th page of shortcuts, which is the special shortcuts, and 2 of these are optimal health and status recovery. Some guides recommend this, but I have personally tested it and it isn't smart at all, and will probably end up killing you by consuming the wrong item, so never use this too. That said though guys, I believe this is it. I'm sorry if I didn't create this video sooner, because there's a lot going on in my personal life right now, and YouTube is just a burden at the moment. I enjoy creating these videos for you guys, but I really need your support to create more of them. It's really discouraging when you put so much time and love into a video and it gets like 100 views. So the way you could help me is by liking the video, sharing and subbing to the channel, maybe even leaving a comment. All of these together help YouTube recognize the channel. I'm also working on a major video covering all the best non-RDM weapons, all the way from the raw options to all the elemental options, so keep an eye out for that. But yeah, that's about it guys. I hope you all enjoyed, and I see you all next time.